And we're going to map in our outline of our bird, remembering to look at the shapes and once you see the photo of this completed, look at the shapes and make sure that they're in proportion to each other as you sketch, so the head and the body, and then add your color. So you can always sketch really lightly and then come back into it and change it as you need. So I'm going to start with the belly of the bird. So its body's front on and its head's going to be facing to the side. So we're going to start with an oval shape. Like this. And then we're just going to pop in the head. So our head is going to come starting at the side of this side. We're going to come up. Curve in and then come up. And then we're going to pop in our beak. So our beak's going to start here. And the beak's actually quite large, so I'm not going to worry about too much detail to begin with. I'm just going to try and get that right in size comparatively to the body. So let's just get that in and then work out the details afterwards. And then we want to connect the top of the beak with the head. So this way we really can shape it. So we want, all birds have this little part where the feathers come up, out over the beak a little bit, and then into the head. So then we can rub out that original guideline here. And then now we can shape our beak a little bit more. So coming out a bit further, it's got a tiny little point on the end. It's not very defined, just a very slight point. Then we're going to get rid of this guideline here, so it doesn't look like a little potato. Now we're going to pop in our eye. So the eye is going to sit about here. So what we're going to do first is just start with our eye shape. Like this. And it comes right into a little bit of shadowing that then comes onto the beak. And then we've got another dark section which will be here, like so. Just want to make the head at the top of the head a little bit more fluffy. Just extending that up. Now that we've got the eye, you can really make sure everything's in its right position. And then inside the eye, even though we're going to do this with pastel, we want to give ourselves lots of guidelines of where everything's going to be dark and light. So the pastel will always cover this pencil, especially darker colors. So we want to do shading around the eye like that. And then pop in the inside, which will be dark. We'll just make sure that we leave a little light section. Like so, which gives it a little bit of personality. Then we want to pop in our nostril there on the beak. It's going to be near our fluffy feathering up here. Maybe feathers coming out onto the beak. And then we're going to pop in the line through the beak. And then all this here will be fluffy. Now we do need to pop in our wings. So starting on each side, they're actually quite little short fat birds, these ones, so popping in one side, then the other. Just realised I've smudged that a little bit there. Cool. And then we're just going to map out where our different coloured markings are going to go. So it's going to be a weird little shape like this under the eye that will be yellowy browny colour, and then the belly will be lilac. Now we're going to shape the bottom of the bird here so it's a little bit less round, getting rid of that real roundness, making those feathers come behind there. Then we are going to pop in the branch that is, well, the broken off branch that he's going to be sitting on. So it's going to come out on this side and then right underneath the bird here, and then down. So we're going to have some detail in the wood, so there'll be a dark splodge here, and a couple of lines through our wood. So it can be different to mine, same as mine. The wooden bit doesn't matter. We just want to make sure that this seems hollow here. So this will all be dark, and then this will be, we're going to pop that in with the blacky brown to make it a hole in the wood. So our first foot is going to be coming from here, and then we're just going to have one little part of the foot, and then the other part is going to be clinging on like this. So it's almost like a long finger or something before you put the little claw on the end. And then just rub out any guidelines that are going through that from your wood, so it's not got anything in front of it. Defining those, and put little lines on them to show the feet, and then the feathers will sit on top of that. So I'm pressing quite dark just so you can see on the camera with mine, but go light with your pencil as you go so you can change it easily if you need to adjust anything. And then we just want to make sure the back of that wing is sitting behind like that. Now our other little foot you're not going to see much of. It's going to go into this crevice and be hanging on the back, so we're just going to lighten up the back of that crevice a little bit. I'm going to smudge this in. So you can see the back part of the wood. It's just going to be sitting into that crevice there, like that back foot's further back. And put that detailing in there. And then making sure our feathers are coming behind it. So if your feet are in a slightly different spot as well, don't stress too much. That won't matter at all. Starting to look like a bird now. So now for the fun part, we're going to switch to colour. So we're going to start with our background. I always find work from whatever's furthest away forward. That way you don't have to try and go around any really small detailing like feathering that's coming into the background, which gives it a more realistic look. So I'm going to start with a kind of soft yellowy colour, so yellow would work as well. And I just want the background to look like muted bush. So you can pop in, or you could also use all greens, or I wouldn't suggest do blue because our bird's got blue on it and we really want that to pop. So I'm just popping in this real natural beigey colour. Almost like sun filtering through the woods. And then I'm going to start with a green, so a medium green. So I actually really find with pastels, I like to work with them in halves. I find it easier, but it's personal choice. So I'm going to bring some of this green up into my yellowy beige. So I'm using the side and I'm using circular motions to blend those together. Then 2 fingers, and we're just going to rub those together. I'm just going to pop a little bit more green up into my beige and a little bit more beige over the top, so I've got more pastel on there, and then rubbing that all into the paper around the bird. Beautiful. Then you're ready for your first spray. Okay, now we're ready to start on our birdie. So we are going to start by mapping in the head. We're just going to work in colours as we go, so I will make sure I tell you each time I switch colours. Starting with an orange, what we're going to do is we're going to, using short little strokes, even though we're going to blend it, we still want to make our strokes like little feathers. So using short little strokes, just going to fill in this first section. And then grab your white and you want to, this will blend it at the same time, but we're adding short little strokes through the orange, and this will make it look more feathery. And it's only our first layer of colour, but you'll see that it'll start to look a little bit more realistic. Now we're going to start on the top of the head. So first we will start with a light blue. So if you don't have a light blue, use a normal blue, but use more white over the top of yours. So we're going to start from here. And look at the direction of the feathers are following the shape of the bird. So coming around the eye. We want to come off the edge of that pencil so the feathers look more realistic, fluffing into the background a bit. And we're coming right up next to our orange section. So you see that has lots of gaps in it, so we're just going to use one finger and blend in the direction of the feathers. Now this is only layer one, it's lots to do yet. Then we're going to start with our dark blue, and we're going to start at the top of our wing. So this part we can actually, rather than doing it real feathery light strokes, we're going to colour in our wing. And then use your pinky and just rub that in. Now we're going to start with our lilac part. So we just, quickly bring this blue to meet your orange first, Then we're going to grab a pink as our base, and then starting near the mouth, we're going to do those feathery strokes again. Like this, and just blending that with your finger. Don't worry about it too much right now because this is very base layer. We're about to go over the whole thing. We just need a base to be able to detail over. And then we're going to fill in the bottom with a lighter blue. blend that in. And then we're going to pop in dark blue on the underside of the wing here. A little bit peeking through underneath. This. And then give your first layer a spray. Now we're going to start with our detailing our face. So you will need a black. Just going to find mine. Hiding from me in the case with the black behind. So we're going to start by just outlining the beak first. I'm going to pop our nostril in nice and dark. And then come along the inside of the mouth. And then along the bottom. Now you can use your blending stick for this because it's quite small an area, so something pointy will help, or you can use your pinky, but we just want to push that pastel into the grooves of the paper. Rub it more along the bottom. Then we're going to grab our grey. Put grey in the space between that shading and the middle line of the mouth, and then blend that. We'll do the top. Blend around our nostril. Then just deepen that middle line. Get rid of any excess, blow it off. And then this dark part, I'm going to put shade joining up to that shading around the eye, just with our blending stick or your finger. I'm just going to use what's on our pencil, on our smudging stick, and come around the eye. Now we're going to grab our white and we're going to add some highlights to the mouth. So coming along the top here, some little like squiggly lines in the beak with your white, like that, and then along the bottom a little bit. And then we just want to make sure we've got that defined line through the middle. Beautiful, and then we just want to spray that so that black doesn't get anywhere else on our bird. Now we're going to shade around our eye, so starting with your grey, come pop in that dark bit on the end of the eye. Coming around the eye. Then grab your white, and we want short little strokes coming from that grey, and then white underneath as well. Nice fluffy strokes underneath in that little gap that we had. And then we're going to spray again. Then we're going to use our black. And we're just going to put in the outside outline of the, so you're following the inner shape of that grey area we just did. Then use your blending stick blend that into the grey. And then we're going to do the very inner circle of the eye. Take your time, do it nice and carefully. So start like this. And you want to leave a little white highlight. So blow off any excess. And then on that inner rim, just grabbing my green and I'm just running it over that white gap. And then once you blend that in with the grey, you'll just get a slightly tinted grey for the coloured bit of their eye. And then get your white. I'm just going to add another little highlight in the eye. Then we're going to spray again. And we will start detailing more on the top. Okay, starting off at the top, we're going to start with our white. We're going to do fluffy strokes all the way through the face. and on the top of the head. All through that light blue. And then grabbing your light blue and adding some feathery light blue as well. Then we're going to grab our orange. We're just going to do a couple of orange, tiny little feathers at the front, like that. And then we're going to re-feather the orange part with the orange. Then grabbing the white again. I'm going to come underneath the eye where it touches the orange. Then a couple little highlights through the orange with white. Then more orange. And then you're actually going to grab a brown. And then pop some brown strokes through there. A couple of brown feathers around the mouth. And then lots of white. Coming off the bird. I'm going to make this part really fluffy. And we're going to make the belly really fluffy with white before we come back in with more colours. Should start to take shape. Then you're going to grab a pink or a purple. Just adding some darker little feathers right in the breast here. Crest feathers. Then grabbing that orange again. Gonna add a little patch of orange here. And then actually pop a little bit of yellow through there as well. So we're just gonna have a couple little highlight there. A couple of little yellow strokes through the orange on the face. Then you're gonna grab your purple. I'm just gonna pop a couple of darker little feathers through here, blending back in with your pink. Rubbing that together. Then spraying. Then another layer of fluffy white over where you've sprayed. Should really give it a really fluffy appearance in the belly. Now we're going to keep working on our blue below. So we're actually going to grab a bit of the dark blue and we're just going to pop in some darker blue feathering through this light section, especially around our feet. Into that purple, like so. Then we're going to get our light blue feather on top. Blend those together. Give it a spray. Then grab your black. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a bit of shadowing for where the wing joins to the body. So again, it's little short feathery strokes. We're just going to pop in a little bit of detailing in the wing as well. So a little break there for feathers underneath here, right along the body. A little bit of black detailing at the bottom of this wing, through it there. A bit of shading on this side. And get your blue, go over that black. Blend. Then grab some white. I'm just going to highlight the edges where the light would be hitting it. So, you want to make sure that the belly now fluffs over the wing, so just spray that first actually so you don't get blue everywhere and black. Make sure, anytime your spray is really wet, you just want to make sure that it dries before you work. If you're giving it a good spray so you can see that it's wet, you want to make sure that area dries before you go straight over it. So while we wait to do our last little bit of fluffiness, we'll do the tree and we'll do the feet last. So I'm gonna grab a brown. And just going to map in our piece of broken timber it's sitting on. So just outlining it and popping in those lines, then grabbing a lighter brown, or you can use yellow ochre and come in between, or you can use a grey as well, or even just brown and white. Gonna map in the rest of that and blend those two together first. You can use your blending stick to get some nice sharp edges. that off. Just tidy this up a little bit. Just tidy up your background if you need to. Making sure there's no white gaps. Now, the inside of that wood is going to be black at the bottom. Then I'm going to use a bit of brown at the top. Still outline that hole in the wood and then blend that together. Then grabbing a white, just gonna do some squiggly highlights through the top here, in the bark. On the edge of that hole. Then grabbing a brown, just a couple more squiggles of colour, then a grey, pop some grey through there. So your wood can really be any mix of neutrals, as long as you've got some light and dark happening, it will look good. And blend those in a little bit. Keep the excess off. And then spray. So while that dries, before we do the feet, we'll do the final touches on the belly of our bird. So starting here with light feathery strokes of that white. And then another layer of blue feathery strokes, so a bit shorter through here. And then that's our little birdie done. Now we're going to do our feet. So starting with your black, we're just going to put in the top of the leg like this, and then we're going to put in the shading underneath where it's touching the branch. So underneath both. And the little claw at the end, little sharp nail in black, just like a little triangle. Then you're going to get your white. You're just going to put the feet in with white first. Blow off any excess. Use your blending stick to blend that underneath. And then we're just gonna, you can use what's on your blending stick. You should be able to drag up little bits of black to put those little lines through the feet. And then give that a good spray. And give it a sign and you're done.